Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with three S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, here to talk with the most recent banished from the Traitors Canada Season 2. We have Jasmine. Jasmine, how are you doing today? How are you feeling?
I'm doing well. I did what I can. I was faithful. I obviously I digged my own grave in the last breakfast, but honestly, I came in like okay, honestly, I played like what I can for the faithful team. Like I'm like even if I get murdered or banished, because I know some people started suspecting me as a traitor from Mike accusing me and others. I was just like, know what? At least like I can help contribute towards who this traitor is. But obviously, I was wrong. Who I thought, but that changed after because I did ask Lauren like, "Are you a traitor?" And I believed her when she said she's not. But like the traders did a great job. They're really good at like sabotaging
Or
and
allowing you guys to maybe sabotage yourselves.
yeah, oh, absolutely. So I definitely sabotaged myself. So um, I'm not surprised that I got banished, but it's
So
a game.
you were able to watch back the episode, I'm assuming. Did
Yeah,
you hear when Netta says, like, I don't know how somebody could be so loud and so wrong? How do you feel about her
I
assessment of you here?
completely agree with her. Absolutely. Like, Netta, you're right, girl. Like, absolutely. But I was just like, hey, it was good television in the end. And like at that point of the game, we were all, us faithfuls were so confused that anything that someone did that was suspicious, we just like, they could be a traitor. Like we were like, yes, I was like the hot mess, but at that point, I think us faithfuls, most of us were like a hot mess. We didn't know who to trust anymore because the last four roundtables, we were like the faithfuls were getting voted like banished, and we were just like, oh my god, like what is going on? What are we not seeing?
So, how did you get into the Traitors Canada season 2? Were you a fan of the show? Are you a fan of reality TV? What's your kind of origin story with getting here?
Well, I did. I was reached out to be on the show, so that's how I got in. But I've always been a fan of reality TV growing up. I used to watch Big Brother, USA. I don't know if you remember The Mole. Like, it's
Of
funny because I
course.
watched that with my mom, and I was like to my mom, I would love to be in a show like that. And it's very similar to The Traitor. So hey, I manifested that.
Hmm.
I loved The Survivor. Like I remember like the first two seasons of The Survivor. I was a huge fan, but like life got busy. I got older. I missed all the other seasons, but I've always been a fan of that. I love Big Brother. I love Housewives. So I've always been like a fan, and I've always like it would be great to like be on a reality TV show. And I guess like when I got reached out, I'm like I'm gonna take this opportunity and make good television and let's do this. So I'm happy that I got that opportunity for sure.
That's amazing. I love manifesting and bringing things
Yes.
into, your life's world. So when you arrived at the manor and you're looking around, did you recognize anybody?
No, I did not know anybody. Actually, sorry, Michael John. I remember him. He used to be a wrestler. I remember him when I was growing up. I'm like, I've seen you before, and I'm like, did you do wrestling? He's like, yes, I did. So he's the only one I kind of remember, but everybody else I had no idea. Like I never really watched like Canadian reality before. It was mostly like the USA. So I don't know who was who. And I'm sure nobody knew who I was either.
So that first time when you get to the manor, how are you feeling when you're looking around? And then Corinne asks five people to step forward. What was your thoughts about that
I
part
was
of
like,
the situation?
absolutely not. Like, this is the beginning of the game. I don't know what I'm going to get myself into. Like, I'm sure you noticed too. Like, I was kind of quiet at first because I was like observing. I'm let me watch my environment. Let me watch the people. But I knew that's when my intuition was right because my intuition isn't always right, and I'm aware of that. But I knew that for all of them to go up there, the five that went up there, like even though there was 10K in the pot, there was more to it, and it didn't seem very positive. So I'm glad I did not make that decision. I just stayed quiet and watched.
That's definitely, I would say, the best decision that would have been
Yes.
made, because you want to kind of figure out how people are playing, and you don't know who's going to be a traitor, and so yeah, it definitely is safest to not put yourself on death row. So
Yes.
great choice there. So were you wanting to be a traitor when you're coming into the game? Were you happy to be a faithful? Like, what was your strategy going in?
Yeah, so I did want to be a trader coming into the game because I did watch the first season of the Traitors Canada, and I thought like my chances would be higher to win because you're as a trader you're control you're controlling the game, like, and you can also decide who you want to murder with the other traders as well. Like Banish, you can influence the faithfuls to like who you want to get out. But I did want to be a trader because I thought my chances would be high. But I was ready to be a faithful too. And I'm just like, okay, if I'm going to be a faithful, I'm going to do my best to work as a team. But I honestly thought like we weren't working as a team, we were working independently. And I think I was there to work as a team, as a faithful, because as you know, I wasn't picked as a traitor. I wish I was, but hey, it is what it is. But when Rebecca was banished, that's I'm like, I cannot rely on my fellow faithfuls. Like, I'm gonna go like Melinda and Trana were two people I really, really trusted. And we're like all three like water signs. So like yay, So like them two, like I really trusted. But everybody else, like I was just like, I gotta keep an eye on. But like I think what really screwed us as faithfuls, we were working it more independently than a team, and we weren't having like proper conversations. And I think we took things personal, and we should have went more based more on facts. But it's easy to say as a viewer, like, what are you doing? But the game is much harder than what it looks like. The game goes really fast. And like one thing, like, I was like, really, I was suspicious of Netta, and the only person that knew that was Kirkland. And Kirkland came up to me and said that I think Netta's a traitor. And that morning, she popped in my head. I'm like, okay, she's really quiet and she's being too nice. It seems too fake to be true. But I'm like, she seems very clever. So if I put her name on the round table, if I'm gonna put her name on the round table, I need other people to help me vote her out. And there was only Kirkland that was on the same page as me. And then the next day he kind of like started targeting me like, oh, because we did like a pinky promise. And he's like, oh, he's like I think someone, like, I don't know what happened, someone manipulated him, and he's like, oh, like you told, like, you're telling people that Netta is a traitor. And I'm just like, where is that coming from? That was between you and I. So then I'm like, is he a traitor? Is he manipulating me? And after he was banished, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like really on my own, because I know some even Trent, I think she trusted Netta too. So I didn't know who to go to. And I'm just like, I need help with votes. But then people started targeting me when Mike started saying, oh, I think you're a traitor because you're loud. And I'm just like, and then we just kind of started going against each other because we wanted to stay in the game. And the traders were just sitting there laughing at us. It was, it was, it was definitely a hot mess. And I surely showcased that for sure, as you know.
So no, you were really entertaining. It was great, and you want people to be, going in with their convictions. That's what you want to watch on TV. Maybe it doesn't help with the strategy of the faithful game, because it just be like, okay, either they're a traitor, or the traders want to keep them in the game because they have suspicion on them. So chances are you're gonna get banished. So I get the plight, but it's been really fun to watch. So don't worry about that. You're entertaining.
Okay.
So if you were to have a magic wand and switch the game around, and instead of being a faithful, you were a traitor, who would your two fellow traitors that you would like to work with? Would it be Melinda and Trana? That would be your traitorous team?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love to be working with them as traders. I think we would be so entertaining, and we would be like everyone's besties, and I think we would have done a good job.
Yeah, and you guys would be the entertainment for sure. The conclave would be split.
For sure.
Now, if that was the new scenario, who would be your first murder?
My first murder would be probably Cedric. I think Cedric is awesome. All love to him. But he was creating a lot of noise, and it did distract me and everybody else. And he got me eliminated by his influence. He's really good at influence people. Good for you, Cedric. But like, I would have murdered him. I'm like, he ain't gonna mess with me. Absolutely not.
So how like the banishment before, you were saying that you were friends with Kirkland and you guys and he came to you with the Netta thoughts and you had the thought about Netta. Was it just because of time that you weren't able to start talking with Kirkland about that and maybe, gathering some other people to notice what you're noticing? Like how did
Yes,
that just disappear?
exactly. Sorry to interrupt. I feel like there was not enough time. Like I thought like Kirkland and I like we like trust each other. We're like, okay. And he even knew too. He knew that we cannot say that we're suspicious of Netta because a lot of people did not think that. So we're like, we have to be really clever. And Netta was like really observant as well. So but thing is like things just like changed because he came after me and like I was just like, what's going on? Like, am I being like sabotaged? Like, am I gonna get voted out because like he thought that I went after him? So I don't know where that came from, but um it just turned out like sideways. But the traders were really good at sabotaging any type of friendships that were being
Mm.
created and any type of alliances. So they went after it real fast, and we weren't fast enough to deal with that. So the traders just were better at what they were doing than us faithfuls. In the end, it
They
is what
have more
it is.
information, so
It is.
they know everything that's going on.
Yes.
Now, this past banishment, Michael John was getting some heat, and he wasn't able to really deflect it from what we've seen on the show. And Lori was coming in hot at the. How was it not possible to maybe get Cedric's votes off of you and his army that's coming for you, and maybe push some of these votes towards Michael John? Was that not something you were thinking about?
Um, I wasn't really suspicious of Michael John. I'm like, okay, like, yes, like, I didn't want to like judge him based on like how he looks because he can look like a traitor, but I'm just like, I didn't really, I'm like, if he's touching his beard, I'm like, I'm not going to assume like, with Cedric, he already like had his alliances like Gil, Aaron, like, like I just knew that once Cedric said something on the round table, and when he said that I'm ready to leave if I'm 100% sure that she's a traitor, I'm like, they're all gonna like most of them are gonna believe him. And that's why in the beginning of the game when Rebecca got banished, that's why I kind of indicated to everybody, I'm not a sheep. Like I'm not gonna follow what just because one person said that. And Cedric did get he influenced getting Rebecca banished. He did. And like a lot of the faithfuls did kind of like listen to what he was saying. And I think they did the same thing when I got banished too. So that's what I felt.
So, were you? Who did you banish? Rebecca's banishment. Do you remember?
It was Aaron because
Oh,
I wasn't when I came into that round table, I had no clue. It was still the thing is the game goes really fast and the game was still so fresh. So I was just like, like I wasn't too sure who was a traitor yet. The reason I suspected Aaron, I wasn't too sure. I'm just like, okay, I know Rebecca is not a I that's something obviously I was right about. My intuition was right for the first time in the game. Because I had good conversations with her. But sorry, I'm not trying to go sideways, but I wish I had more conversations with everybody. I wish I had more conversations with Gail too. But I'm just like, I'm tired of like proving myself to people. I'm just gonna play this game and go full on. But I picked Aaron because he was very quiet and observant. And like he has he used to be a corrections officer and stuff like that. I'm like, if he's a traitor, he'll be good at like stuff like that. And so I even said, I'm like, no hard feelings, don't take it personal. But like that's why I think you're a traitor. But then I kind of like forgot about that. And I like there was like Netta was like on my radar, but like anyone else, I wasn't too sure. So I just kind of like I just guessed it out. I wasn't sure, and the reason and the roundtable after that with Mike, the reason I picked him is because he started calling me out in front of everyone that I'm a traitor. So I was worried. I'm like, okay, people are gonna think I'm a traitor because he's saying that. And when I asked him, like, okay, why do you think I'm a traitor? Like, are there any facts? What makes you think that? For a guy that has a crime podcast and all that. And he's like, because you're loud. I'm like, really, Mike? You can do
mm.
better than that. And like, hey, I'm gonna go full on too. Like, if you're gonna call me out, oh, I'm gonna go heavy. I'm gonna go heavy. And it's funny because like when I was like trying to explain myself, I was like really like, I was like triggered because like he was calling me out as a traitor before we went into the round table, and I called him out. I'm like, Mike, I've been suspecting you from day one, and I lost the track of my words. I was trying to say, um, um, you can't, like I was basically saying you can't manage your emotions, and I was trying to say, you're not emotionally intelligent. And I
Oh,
lost track of my words. I was
just
so I took like I was just like a little bit like upset, and then I'm like, you're not emotionally intellect. I was
and you're like,
just like
you know what that
rambling.
means.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't need to explain myself. And then Gil's like, oh, I think you're a traitor. I'm like, I was like tired of explaining myself to anyone. I'm like, think what you guys want, like whatever, And I'm just like, yeah.
Have you seen any other iterations of the show? Like any other seasons?
I've
Other
seen the
than season one?
season. I've seen the season one of Traitors Canada.
Okay, so there's been a few seasons in other countries that have the faithfuls not do very well for quite a long time. And I believe that this season the faithfuls are on par with that record. How are you feeling about the faithfuls? Are you team faithfuls or are you team traitors now that like they're doing so much better? Who are you rooting
Well,
for?
hey, it was such a great journey being a faithful, but I'm traders. They're doing a fantastic job, and I hope they win because us faithfuls are truly a hot mess. They call me a hot mess. Y'all faithfuls are a hot mess too. I
Absolutely. Now, is this something that you would ever want to play again? Like, did you, like you said, you enjoyed your experience? Would you put yourself in if they did like a returning season?
Absolutely. And I'm going to play the game much wiser because now I have the experience. I'm definitely going to take the time to watch more of the other seasons in other countries. But thing is, like, it's as a viewer, it's like you could be like, "Oh my God, why are they playing it?" It's a hard game. It's not easy, and but I'm so ready. Like I would love to take that opportunity if I ever had that opportunity in the future to play the game. And I would love to be a traitor. If not, I'll be a better faithful. And this time I won't be such a loudmouth.
Yeah. So, what would your trader your strategy be instead? Just be quieter. Like, is that the only thing that you would change with your game, or how would you maybe approach it differently?
I think I would be like definitely much quieter. I wouldn't really showcase my personality and like be like everyone's bestie. Like, oh my, like be there to like help and look innocent because Netta was really good at doing that. And that's why no one really suspected her. And even Kyra, she was like very like like now how she mentioned she's a faithful during the day and a traitor at night. She surely was. So I would play like a mix of both of them and like and jazz me spaz in between.
Well, now some people that have played the game, they kind of want to bring in like they figure out who the traitors might be, and then they become friends with them and not throw them under the bus with the hopes that they would keep them safe. So was
Yes.
that ever something that crossed your mind instead of going hard for these people that you thought were traitors, that maybe keep them close, keep the enemy closer?
Yeah, it was Netta because I was
Mm.
suspicious of her. So I'm like, I'm just gonna keep it cool with her and I my plan was like, I don't want her to think I'm suspicious of her, but I really was. But like for me, I didn't have those faithful votes to help me get her out. So and Kyra, I truly believe she was a faithful, and I love you, Kyra, because she did help we became friends and like she's awesome and I know that she tried to keep me there
Hmm.
but she had to do her like she's a traitor, she had to do her thing, but she did help me not get murdered during
Yeah.
the time I was in the game, so I appreciate that. And yeah.
What would you say your proudest moment that you had in this game?
I think my proudest moment was winning, um, helping contribute towards the pot with Kyra. Because it really showed that I was good at the missions. So at least I helped put money in the pot. So whoever won, you got to thank me for that.
It's all your help and you're doing. Now,
Yes.
we were talking a little bit about manifestation. I believe a lot in intuition. Did you have any sort of intuition that it was going to be your time tonight? Like you're like, ooh, like a gut instinct, like I feel like I'm going out. Did you have any of those signs?
Yes. Before the round table, like everyone was kind of conversating, like trying to see who would the traitor be. I seen a lot of people having one-on-one conversations and kind of people giving me the side eye, and that's when I'm like, I bet you they're suspicious of me. And I'm like, I knew, I'm like, it's gonna be me or Cedric. Like the votes are gonna be me or Cedric, and I had a feeling, I'm like, Cedric is already going after everyone. I'm not talking to everyone and be like, Jasmine's a traitor. And so I was right about that. So I'm like, I was like saying to myself, be ready, girl. Like, be ready for you to go home tonight. And even if I didn't get banished, I'm like, I was ready to like pack my suitcase if I was gonna get murdered that night too. I was like, girl, just be ready to go home.
Now, out of all the banishments, obviously not including your own, who were you most surprised by that you guys were that wrong?
Um, it was Mary Jo.
Are you
Mary
you're
Jo
really
was a huge surprise because no one was really suspicious of her. I knew she was a faithful. Like I like even that conversation between Mary Jo and Kirkland happened. I was like, where is that coming from? I'm like these surprises, where they're coming from. So Mary Jo's banishment was a huge surprise, and it's funny how Hanok thought like she was a traitor, but in the end, we were all like us faithfuls. It's funny how we all said, "I'm 100% sure this person's a traitor." So we all kind of made those like mistakes. Like no one, as smart as everyone is, like this game is tougher than what people think it is, and it really plays mind games and it goes by really fast. Like you gotta be really clever. You really, really do.
So the last thing I have to ask is some rapid fire questions here. So I'll say a little phrase, and you just put whatever one of your fellow castmates into this position. Okay. So
Okay.
who is the most manipulative player?
Netta.
Ooh. Most annoying?
Cedric.
Loudest?
The loudest. Can I vote myself?
Sure. Yeah.
I would say me and Cedric.
Who's the funniest?
Um, Melinda.
Melinda's super funny.
Yes.
Wait, what's your sign? You were saying that you three were water signs. What's your sign?
So I'm a Cancer. Melinda's a Scorpio, and Trana is a Pisces.
Oh, so you had like the whole trifecta
Yeah.
of water
And
signs.
it's so funny how us three were just like connected. We all like had each other's back. We're like we got each other's back, but everyone was like suspicious of us too, you know? So
That's amazing. Which player would you most want to invite to dinner?
I would say Lori.
Lori, oh, nice.
Yes.
Most opinionated?
Kirkland.
Ooh. Worst traitor ever, not including the traitors that are playing right now, but who would you say would be the worst traitor ever?
I would say the worst traitor would be Cedric.
And in hindsight, who do you think was the most trustworthy player?
The most trustworthy player, I think, was I would say probably Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's having his coming out party this episode. So maybe
Yeah.
we're gonna hear a little bit more from him.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit today. Do you have anything else you want to share with the audience about your experience or what you have to come?
It was honestly, I'm so privileged to have that experience. And it's so interesting, like coming to this game, like I was just like, this is a game. Like I don't care. Like I wanted to be a trader, as I mentioned, and I'm like, I don't care about any of these contestants. I'm here to play the game. But when I started playing, I was like, oh my God, all these contestants are wonderful people. And like I can be really good friends with everybody. Like every single person is phenomenal. And I think we made amazing TV and we're all just like became friends. And like I'm so happy and blessed that I had this opportunity. And now I just want to do more reality TV now.
Yes, we want to see you
Yes,
being
I'm
loud and
glad to hear that.
wrong. Well, thanks again. We really appreciate you having this chat today.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.